Ooh, what's over here? Be afraid. Be very afraid. So, Morningstar came out with their new gizmo, which is 4 centimeters. Now, I've been looking at this stuff. Pretty well much all these are about 4 centimeters. That's a little bit less. That's precisely 4. And on we go. Now, obviously, I'm not looking to lay out a board that long. Actually, that would be pretty cool. But as you guys know, I do all the MIDI stuff. And I'm swapping these things around and ripping them out and putting them all over the place. And we have very much jokingly today said, what can we do to get Alec on a board? Which I've resisted up until now because, well, I'm ripping this stuff apart all the time. Plethora down there, bit less. All my 529 stuff goes underneath. And then freak out. Robbie's little button and the EQ are all a little bit less. All of them have MIDI in for the most part. The only one that doesn't, the only one that has been a royal pain in my behind all this time is the Strymon one. And, go on, get in there. And the Sim one. Almost dropped it. You were waiting for that, weren't you? Because that has USB out, and that's been a right pain. I've been going through fixing that by bridging it with the Morningstar, because this will power the Morningstar no problem, and I use this to cross MIDI with the throughs. So that's probably going to end up being a pair in the eventual take over the world rig. But this is what I'm interested in, and I'd like your opinions on this, because that's 4 centimeters. So it's going to be about yay big. The Morningstar hub. And I'm thinking the Morningstar hub is going to be for everybody who's coming in, super interesting, because that will sit in the middle of all this stuff with 8 little bobs there. And the wiring is now going to get interesting. This down a sec. Just trying to make a nice smooth video here, but whatever. Let's talk about these things. The MIDI signaling, which is not carrying any audio, it's all a digital thing, can be super thin like that. So that's going to be real handy. You could terminate it 5-pin, you can terminate it micro like this, or you could use 3.5 pins, which I have somewhere here on the thing, you know, regular stereo lead. 2.6, pretty well much anything to anything, and you could get them pre-made in standard lengths, say 15 centimeters. Yeah, we're doing all this in centimeters or millimeters because that's just handy. So say you got 15s as a standard, 20, 25, 30, I don't know. Come up with a standard for these things. If you're whacking that on a board, and I guess this would be about the same size as a pedal train, or 2 of these would be about the normal size of most people's boards. Your new Morningstar jobby can go on there and split off from there. So maybe 90-degree angles. And that pops through under the board. All boards are going to have either holes in them, or they can be like temple boards. But that's very neat. I very much doubt that you would have it mounted like that. And if it's 4 centimeters underneath this thing, maybe that's asking a bit much, or you want a seriously angled board. Now, I'm asking all these questions because I'm going to have to face the reality that all of this stuff here needs to be mounted nice and neat and tidy. And I've been able to procrastinate my way around that till now, but think about that. And because we are open in the group and honest, that's one way to do it. The other way is to take a 2.2 22 mil, which is our leg, precisely that deep The new Pirate one is going to be more or less like that. Much bigger, but that thin. You know, with inputs, outputs, and gizmos and CVs in and outs, and that's the one I'm going to go for, the Pirate one. No offense, James, but, you know, I may even change my mind on that. You never know. But that could fit underneath. So this is the debate. On top of a board, it's the same size as these. They're fairly small, they're fairly thin, they're fairly neat. And you could take WIDI jacks, whack that to the out, you know, so that thing sits on your board and talks to all of these. And the controller foot pedally bit can go on the floor. And now we're talking. For me, that has been the dream, the juice, the major thing ever since day one. That for me is where a foot controller should be. And you should be blipping and blapping away here with your DA electronics, or you should be smacking that. And that screen should be bright enough to see in the day, in the dark. And those need to be cool. And you need a couple of expression pedals. Yeah. Smaller than that. Elegant, nice looking, metal. That should be your board 1. That should be your board 2. Have it long if you want. Mr. Folsom, what would you say? Have it squared if you want. Have it however you want. And these here should be WIDIing up and talking to all of these. Because if you got that wet, yes, you'd cry, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. If, you know, a tequila or a beer or whatever your beverage of choice is, you know, if a chamomile tea fell on that stuff, I think you would freak, as is justifiable. Or if you're in a basement and it floods, I'm on the first floor, but any water that gets on your stuff is cause to freak out, and it's happened many times, and we've seen it through all the groups, and everybody feels really bad for whoever has it. And my question for anyone who's gone through this is, why the hell would you leave this stuff on the floor? That is thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff. So don't. That's where these things come in. They can link all the stuff together and everything's great. So there you go. Rough video. Mini Mad Scientist. Let's talk about this. We can call this the Help Alec Make Orderly Board and sort out this godforsaken mishmash of cables and notes and testing gear, because honestly, it is time. I'll admit it. It's time. Yeah. So I'm going to check this on YouTube and send it up to you guys, and you can have at it. Give me your advice. What should I do? Not really attached to the beer thingies, but I really like them. It's fun. So yeah, advice, boys. What do you say? What should we do here? What would be the best thing? Yeah, what would you do with your stuff? And if we're getting these kind of cables out, where the hell did I put it? These things. What lengths would you want? Measure up your boards. See what you can do. The super cool thing about a hub is you're going into a star network. Like that in the middle goes to everything. And you no longer have the chain of 5-pin super expensive cables in the mix. These things will cost next to nothing compared to 5-pin. And if something needs to come off, you just take that off. You don't need to rewire the stuff. If something breaks along the way, you can have multiples of these because they're nice and thin. They sit under the board. They take up much less room. Yeah, that's the deal. If you have a hub, be it that thin or that tall or whatever, What are you going to do with it? Would you use it? Would you leave your stuff as is? Because I think that 4x4 box or 2.2 by however many whatevers, under or over, is going to save a lot of major stress, especially if it's wireless. Okie dokes, that's it.